Greetings and welcome to the Cullin State University How to CSU Viking Academic Podcast. I'm your host, RJ Chavez, First Year Advisor at CSU, coming to you from the Cullin State University Podcast Studio. Our podcast will introduce you to fellow CSU advisors to allow you a chance to get to know them, as well as cover topics relating to CSU academics, student life, and of course, academic advising. Today we have Cullin Fisher, who you probably may have seen in another one, but he is here today because I'm the one being interviewed, and I decided interviewing myself would be kind of weird, and so I'll have Cullin actually do the interviewing for me, and hopefully I'll have the answers. So
fingers crossed.
So I will defer now to Cullin to do the interviewing chores. So.
Excellent. Thanks, RJ. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get you on the flip side of the table today.
Yes.
So RJ, remind me where you're from originally.
Okay, well, I'm originally, again, my last name's Chavez, so I'm Mexican, but I was born south of the border, a little town called Lorain, Ohio, which is south of the U.S.-Canada border. So
Got you. Very accurate.
So that's where I grew up, but then I moved from there to North Olmsted, and graduated from North Olmsted High School.
Excellent. And remind me, what was the mascot at North Olmsted?
They were the Eagles, which of course is the same mascot as I think Avon now is the Eagles, St. Edward Eagles. So we didn't have a very original mascot, but
about 40% of high schools probably. Yeah,
yes,
excellent. That's good.
Yes.
And after North Olmsted, which college did you choose to attend?
Okay, well, I chose to attend the Bowling Green State University Falcons. Not far from the Eagles, I guess, for mascot wise.
That was a smooth transition then for you.
Yes, that was.
And when you were at BGSU, what was your major?
Okay, well, I started in accounting.
Okay.
And then I took a managerial accounting class and decided that was not fun or what I wanted to do. So actually I moved from there to general business. So I still stayed in business, but went from a specialized area to something more general and enjoyed, taking finance classes and management and marketing. So that was, so like I said, still was able to graduate in 4 years, even though I had to take like 21 credit hours my last semester, but I did traditional fall, spring, and had summers off. So.
Excellent. So always business. And what scared you away from management?
Well, accounting?
Or the managerial accounting, yeah.
Yeah, just it was like coming up with, doing the numbers, like for a company, like if they made widgets, like how many cost of goods sold, and they had like, inventory and how to determine how much it would cost to make something. And it's like, I like more the finance side, like stocks and bonds and, how to make money. But yeah, was the formulas and stuff was like, this is kind of boring. This is not, not the fun part of accounting. Like, again, this was like in the early 80s when, everything was in a boom. And
gotcha.
But it's like, this other type of accounting was like, I don't want to.
Didn't want to do that?
Yeah, so we had to take like, 2 managerial accountings and other managerial accountings. It's like, no, I can't.
Excellent.
I'll do, more finance stuff, but again, I also had interest in management. I had interested in marketing, so it's like, okay, I'll take a little bit of everything, and then basically just have to market myself.
That's excellent.
After college, so.
Makes sense, and great that you graduated in 4 years, able to make that happen. So
yeah, that was a tough,
gotcha,
tough thing to do.
Understood. And rounding back to BGSU, why did you pick BGSU? Why was that your college of choice?
Well, I wanted to get away from my parents.
Okay.
So I wanted somewhere far enough away, but not too far away. So I mean, Bowling Green's about a 2-hour window. It's out in the middle of nowhere, so there's no like distractions. So it was kind of like the other schools I was looking at, like University of Cincinnati, but then after traveling there, and it was like too far away, and
Gotcha.
So it's like so Bowling Green was kind of a nice.
Perfect blend of distance.
Yeah, so distance-wise, like Kent, would have been still too close. So, Bowling Green was and plus I had family. They all went to the University of Toledo, so it was like I had to be different. So, I think I have over like 11 graduates of my family went to University of Toledo, and I'm the only Bowling Green person. So
good for you.
You always have to have that rebel part of
Understood. And as a fellow Falcon, I'm happy to hear that you chose BG over Toledo.
Yes,
and when you're at BG, outside of all your busyness in the classroom, what kind of stuff were you involved with on campus?
Yeah, I was involved with a lot of things. Like I said, I lived, of course, living on campus, being so far away. So I got involved, like, there's like a residence hall association. So I did that like my freshman year and sophomore year, and then my last 2 years, I became a resident advisor.
Oh,
so
excellent.
I got to, I had a single room to myself. I was in charge of a floor of about 50 other residents. It was in a mostly upperclassmen hall, so they were pretty pretty chill and not too much going on except for weekends. There's like a little bit of partying would go on, but also like I said, Bowling Green has an organization called University Activities Organization, and they had a campus films committee. So there was somebody on my floor who was involved with that. So I like movies, so I got involved with that, and we would choose the movies for the semester, and then on the weekends when they would be shown, we'd take the admission and usually have snacks and stuff, and we were in charge of getting the room set up. So that was that was a fun experience. And then I was also was involved with the Bowling Green State University of a men's chorus.
Oh, excellent.
So I got to
I haven't heard you sing before.
It was academic credit, so I got to sing. I don't like to sing solo, but as part of a group where I can blend in. And then the fun part of that organization, during spring break, I got to go to Disney. We went down to Florida with the organization, so we played cards on the way down on the bus back and forth. And
sounds fun.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was an easy A. You get to wear a tuxedo.
Excellent.
For the concerts, and
not a bad gig.
So it's just be glad you haven't heard me sing. So.
Fair enough.
But it's like I said, those are some of the things that I got involved. I didn't get involved with a lot of with being an RA and everything. That took up a lot of time.
Sure.
So I wasn't able to get involved with other things. But
that
was enough.
Makes sense. Yeah. And we've heard a lot about the awesome experiences of BGSU. What were some of the obstacles that you faced when you were in college?
Yeah, well, probably early on, a little bit a homesickness.
Sure.
At the very first semester, the first week or so, but then after that, wasn't too bad. But yeah, it was just kind of the studying. It's just that I was used, having a routine. When you're in high school, you're there from 8 to 3 or so, and then in college you have 15 credits. It could be spread out, so you had a lot of free time. So it was just kind of using that free time, okay, what's studying and what's kind of hanging out. Like I said, I live near the golf course. If it was a nice day, it's well, do I go to class, my one afternoon class, or do I go golfing with people on my floor? So sometimes,
Understood.
I chose the golfing, and but so I mean, it took a while, but you learn how to study. That they say the 2 hours of studying and reading outside of class for the 1 hour you're in class. That eventually kicked in, but it took like anybody, sometimes I like to procrastinate, but I always made my deadline. So
sure,
I never did an all-nighter, but there were some times maybe go to 2 a.m. or so to get stuff done, and then be ready for the next day. So
excellent. No, thanks for sharing that. And how did you make yourself into higher education? How did you find your way into working in this field?
Yeah, I haven't been a resident advisor. It was found out you could actually get paid to be a full-time hall director and student activities person. So actually, during my senior year, they actually had a 1 credit hour class.
Oh, excellent.
For higher ed, because Bowling Green has a great master's program in working in higher education. So I talked to people. I went to Wisconsin. They actually had a job fair for people in student affairs. So I went up to Wisconsin, and in the cold, me and 3 other people from. We got a car and drove up there and did a bunch of interviews. And
excellent.
Actually I didn't get a job till after I graduated. Was a hall director at a college out in New Jersey.
Excellent.
So then I did that. Then I came back to Ohio. Worked in student activities. Multicultural affairs. I've did a little bit of financial aid. When I came back home, I worked for a TRIO program at former Myers University, and then worked at a nonprofit here in town, College Now, Greater Cleveland. So that was fun. I got to be in high schools helping students talk about financial aid and helped them fill out the FAFSA and talk about scholarships. And
excellent.
And then saw that there was an opening here, and been here now for about 6 years working with first-year students. So.
Excellent. And you obviously have a wide breadth of experience in higher ed and in different institutions. So what do you like so much about working here at Cleveland State?
Yeah, well, probably since my children have been gone here, the free tuition for the children. That's one thing to like about
Sure.
one of the perks. Even my wife was able to graduate from here.
Excellent.
But yeah, like I said, it's just fun people to work with. The students again, Cleveland State's put a lot of money into the infrastructure with all the new buildings here, a lot of the programs. Like I said, when I was looking at colleges, CSU was kind of all the buildings were kind of concrete and didn't have a lot of natural light. It wasn't a very inviting place. There was no on-campus housing or anything around. So that's why I like CSU. I had friends that came to CSU, but it wasn't for me. So
Excellent.
But yeah, now there's a lot of positive things going on. Like I said, they're doing a lot of work with the community, and so it's with students, if they no matter what major they want to go into in Cleveland, they can get an internship or co-op or work full time.
Excellent.
Here, whereas again at Bowling Green, if you want to do certain majors like marine biology, it's like, well, you're not going to get a full time job doing that in Bowling Green, Ohio. You have to go somewhere else. So it was kind of nice being able, here with Cleveland, the transportation and everything. It's a great location, a great city. So
excellent. No, I definitely feel the same way. Being downtown has its perks.
Yep.
So outside of CSU, outside of higher education, what are some of your hobbies? Tell us about yourself outside of your experience
Well,
here.
academics is so much fun. I mean, is there anything else to do that you want to do other than advising?
Never, 24/7.
No. Well, like with my kids and family, we do things. We go to these Renaissance festivals, and they go to these anime conventions. So I kind of tag along, and I kind of like a little bit pop culture, music. Again, I did the training to be a tour guide at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that's going there, taking people there if they haven't been there before from out of town. So going to concerts, and so that's fun. And then also I've also done public speaking through Toastmasters, and that kind of also let me every once in a while I'll go to open mic night to do some stand-up comedy. So people that know me kind of think I'm all serious and everything, and then on the other side it's like I kind of have a dry sense of humor and feel okay talking in front of people and try and get a laugh out of them. So that's something do for fun. Just there's a nice stress reliever, and you get to hang out and socialize with kind of non-academic people. So they're that they can understand they're struggling or doing things, and it's like they have somebody college educated and working at a college. It's like it's like I couldn't wait to get out of college because all I do is I have student loan debt, and they're so they usually don't want to talk about college because all they think about is the monthly bill they have to pay at this point.
Sure, understood. Yeah. So back to that side of the coin for a minute. I guess with all your experiences in higher ed and working with students, how did you settle on becoming a first year advisor? And with that, what would you say is your advising philosophy when working with students here at Cleveland State?
Yeah, kind of, as you talk about, I have a wide breadth of knowledge. It's something I kind of like to do. I wouldn't want to do one job, all the time for 40 years. So I've kind of enjoyed, doing different things. So with all my experiences, it really, being a first year advisor, having worked with students at the high school level and then working them through different, levels in higher ed over the years, it's kind of nice, to being able to use that knowledge and experience to kind of ask, the questions of students when they're coming in, what they want, what's their long-term career goal, what majors are they looking at, kind of gauge through their math, English placement and their high school transcript where they are, and then just try and meet them at that level to help them get through the process, because completing a college degree is different than completing a high school degree.
Most certainly.
High school, it's pretty easy. You have to take this, and this. Whereas each major, they have different requirements. So, if you want to do engineering, you start with engineering classes right away. If you're doing business, you're doing your general education classes first, and business, a little bit, but mostly, later. So just trying to, have students, depending on their major, determines their classes. So if their friends are taking one set of classes, I just want to take the same class as my friends are. It's like, well, your friend has a different major. It's not, some of the classes may be compatible to do together, but some of them
don't work
aren't.
as well.
So it's kind of using all that knowledge and trying to work with students again, show them how to use the degree audit function in CampusNet, and if they have a degree map, how to map out at least their first year to getting through, and then like I said, once they kind of leave us, then they have an advisor in their major, and hopefully by that time they've learned how to do things on their own. That's why for like first year advisor we have that academic hold to help them, because sometimes students make changes and don't realize the effects. This is why they can't do something, so we're there to help them out, and then hopefully after the first year they're able to to do things on their own.
Excellent. I appreciate that very much. And the last question I ask is something to leave your students with. So what advice would you give to first year students to be successful here at Cleveland State?
Yeah, just a few things. One is show up to class.
That's a good one. Listen to
students,
that.
They when they find out maybe attendance is a mandatory or something, that they I'll just go to class. Like I said, the mistakes I made. So if it's a nice day, let's go to the park or the beach or somewhere instead of going to class. So to be successful, that's the one. And then, like I said, for me, I'm always a deadline person. So it's when you get the first day of class, when you get the syllabus, like I said, for me, I have a paper planner. I mean, this is
your life.
I have to have things written down. So I always some people nowadays students are used to technology. They have an app or something that they can put everything in. But know when things are due, but then also kind of work backwards. Say, okay, if you have a paper due on a Friday, it's like, okay, let's get it done on Wednesday, go to the writing center, let somebody proofread it, so so they get another set of eyes on there, and they could say, okay, what are some improvements that can be made so you can make the changes before you're turning it in, rather than trying to get it done at 11:59 right off the printer, and then you hand it right to the instructor at noon. It's not going to be your best work. There's going to be mistakes on there that you could have caught if you would have had it done a little bit earlier. Would you had another set of eyes look at it? Especially like I said with college, because teachers want things on citations or certain formats. So if that's not something you're familiar with, having somebody in the writing center who that's kind of like their job, or that's you can use their expertise to make sure that it's done right, so you don't have points taken off that affects your grade.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Right. And I think those are all the questions I have for you today.
All right. So sounds good. So again, thank you for taking the interviewing chores off me today. So
happy to do it.
Look kind of silly just talking to myself, although it probably wouldn't be the first time. And again, also. For all you podcast listeners out there, again, I know you have your choice of academic advising podcasts you can listen to. Thanks for choosing our podcast. Remember to subscribe to our podcast channel, be notified of upcoming podcasts. Again, I'm your host, RJ Chavez, signing off from the Cleveland State University podcast studio. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, RJ.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.